Okay, lesson 4, Buddhism, paper 4 at Excel GCE. This is Acts of the Buddha number 8. So, the 4 watches of the night, the moment of enlightenment, happens at 6 a.m., but it's the end of 12 hours of meditation. And by meditation, this telling of this bit of the story, the dramatization of this bit of the story is to help you have a handle on what is meditation. Um, Now you'll have to go and look up Visapa meditation. Having done calmness meditation and overcome Mara in the first bit, the Mara's demons and Mara's daughters and the temptations of violence and of sex and so on. Here we get to the 4 watches of the night. And it's a different kind of meditation with 4 jhanas or 4 stages. Now, Harvey helps us here. He links it back to the Pali Canon, and we can find references very easily to this in the Pali Canon. The Sutta account in various places you can look up there describes how the Buddha entered his first meditative state or jhana, and then gradually how he deepened this state of concentration, this calm, until he reaches the final 4th jhana, a state of great peace or equanimity, a state of mental brightness, of purity. Um, Interestingly, Harvey here is not wanting to say a transcendent insight, but that's what Buddhists would say. Based on this state, he develops in the course of the first 3 watches on the moonlit night a threefold knowledge. Kush calls a super knowledge, memory of his first of all of his countless previous lives. We'll look at in a second. Seeing the rebirth of others according to their karma, and knowing the destruction of the ashvas, or the spiritual taints, or the cankers, or the fetters which fester the mind and keep it unawakened. The third super knowledge, completed at dawn, brought perfect awakening that he'd been seeking, so that he was now, at the age of 35, a Buddha with joyful direct experience of unconditioned nirvana beyond aging, sickness, and death. So, first of all, the first 3 watches. In the first watch, traditionally from 6 till 10 p.m., he has his first insight, or for his first super knowledge. Kush says the first of uh, these meditative periods occurred when the Bodhisattva began to recall his past existences. So he has this supernatural insight into his past existences. These memories are believed to be normally locked away in this subconscious mind. Kush is bringing in a bit of Freud here, I think. But the successful meditator, and occasionally people who are hypnotized, did the Buddha know anything about hypnotization? I don't think so. This is bringing in modern ideas, can bring them into a light of consciousness. The Bodhisattva recalled thousands and thousands of lives in detail. Now, that's an ad hoc summary of the 540 Jataka tales, but fair enough. That's kind of thing is said in the Pali Canon, of living them over and over again. The Buddhists claim that some of these lives are retold in the Jataka tales of the Pali Canon. Full compassion, full of compassion, his next thought was that all of these beings have to go through the process of life after life, getting nowhere fast, and how empty and pointless it all seems. So that's his first supernatural insight, his first super knowledge, and the first jhana he enters. The Jataka tales, just a word on them before we go on, are in the Pali Canon. The last 2 or 3 tell the story of his early life, and it's from those we get his recollection, his reminiscence, just before his enlightenment in 547. There's 547 of them. But there's some fabulous stories, and it's difficult. You're not supposed to take these as proverbial stories, so it can be easy for us in the West to find them ludicrous. In one story, the Buddha is a monk who throws himself off a cliff because he sees a hungry tiger, and throws himself off, takes his clothes off, throws himself off so he breaks his neck to feed the hungry tiger. Now, this is not an advocation of suicide. This is just a tale with the singular message of compassion, or metta, as in Aesop's fables that we hear today. And these, in fact, many Aesop's fables go back to the Greek and even Buddhist tales of that long ago. So, moving on, the second watch of the night from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. involves a second jhana, a more detached and ordinary way of thinking than discursive thinking, where the chatter of the mind fades away, leaving only joy and rapture, Kush says. A super knowledge known in Buddhist terminology as a heavenly eye, where he sees the law of karma. So this super knowledge he gains in the second watch, the night, is about the samsaric cycle of life, death, and birth or rebirth. And this horrible, terrible not so much rebirth, but re-death. It's really not a good thing. And the Bodha Vista is full of real pity for everybody who has to go through this endless cycle of re-death. And you can think, is he right? Is there anything that you would place your faith in? Money, fame, insurance policies, family, friends, that is worth sticking around for? Or is all of this pointless, meaningless? Any of these things, you should leave it all behind. In the third watch of the night, before he gets enlightened, he reaches this third jhana, or pure joy. At 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. he achieves the highest super knowledge, which is synonymous with perfect wisdom, Kush says, the knowledge of the destruction of the ashvas, or the outflows. He knows he's overcome these cankers, these things he's got in a character flaws, as it were. This means the end of all worldly desires, wrong views, ties to the process of becoming, and most of all, the end of ignorance. We see this symbolized, this third watch tonight, in these the Buddhist third eye painting here. So tune in, we're going to look at the last watch of the night in the next video and consider what is enlightenment.